gentlemen, as always, I'm your host, AirsoftAL, and today we are talking about, well, the tactical tuna. The FN 2000, the Fabrique Nationale 2000, the gun that inspired the Halo assault rifle.
This rifle did not debut on the International Arms Fair circuit until March of 2001, and if you know anything about video game development, you know that the game and most of its weapons would have been there by then, because Halo didn't launch until, fall of that same year?
Yes, Jonathan Ferguson, I understand your thoughts on that, but we'll get to that in a moment. But I cannot stress the cultural significance of the FN 2000. I cannot stress the absolute pop culture of the FN 2000. Be it the bad guy's gun from Hunger Games, if anyone remembers that book series and movie series, to even just it being an iconic battlefield weapon. I remember playing this in Battlefield 2 Spec Ops, which I actually do have. I know many of you are probably calling BS on that, so to prove you otherwise, here's the actual case for it, along with, of course, the bundle for the Spec Ops 2, or the Spec Ops DLC. Yes, I'm a PC gamer as well as a console gamer, so, you can go fuck yourselves on that. And not just Battlefield 2, no, and that isn't the only game, of course, it has appeared in. It has appeared in also, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say the ones I own in my collection personally. Bad Company 1 and 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Modern Warfare 2, and of course the Medal of Honor games. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the FN 2000 has been a staple in the video game franchise for, well, ever since it first came out in 01. And while, yes, many others will, of course, correct me on the information, and they'll say, no, the FN 2000 appeared in this game, the FN 2000 appeared in this game, I remember it fondly from Battlefield 2 Spec Ops DLC. So, yeah. Not only that, but in the airsoft world, it's also iconic for a very specific reason, being the gun of course, Level Cap. This exact model behind me being the exact model that Level Cap used when he got into airsoft, besides, of course, this M4, but we're not going to talk about the M4. And arguably so, you could say that Level Cap is the reason why the FN 2000 has become a popular model, outside, of course, its real-world counterpart being also very good. And I mean that. And before anyone starts to try and bring up about its reliability issues, Forgotten Weapons would like to have a word with you.
Just fine. Back in the mud. Leaving the port open this time. This is the ejection port. Safety, 5 rounds. Not a problem. Everyone's going to ask. Let's pour some straight into the mag well with that rubber gasket. This is one of the supposed features about this gun, is that rubber gasket. It passed. I'm not surprised. This is really one of the best bullpups ever designed, in my opinion. It's a very sealed system.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some things about the gun that I definitely am going to talk about, especially this replica behind me. But what I will say is that my most fond memories of this gun from gaming, besides, of course, Battlefield 2, Spec Ops DLC, Bad Company 2, and, of course, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, has to be Quake Wars. And for those of you who don't remember Quake Wars, I'm just going to go ahead and show you this gun right here. With some 3D printing parts and just ingenuity in of itself, you could transform the FN 2000 here into the gun from Quake Wars. And sad to say, that's probably the only actual story-driven Quake we're ever going to get, outside of course, you know, Quake 4, but people apparently don't have fond memories of Quake 4. I have fond memories of Quake 4 myself, but it's just how it is, I guess. Moving on now. So, the big thing about this gun is that it looks like a fish. It really does. It looks like a tuna. But before I even get into it, I need to get a small, teeny, tiny little not a rant, but just a little grump out of the way. It's something that really grinds my gears. And has to be the flash hider. This thing. This little teeny tiny thing right here. The iconic flash hider of the tactical fucking Tuna. It's not the fact that it's held on by a grub screw, by a Allen screw, which sadly will cause you to break the plastic itself, trying to take it off there, as I did, and I'm gonna have to, work on that. No. It's the fact that you cannot find a FN 2000 flash hider outside of certain European countries, or Asia for that matter. You can't find a metal one out in the US unless you specialty order it. I hear what you're saying, but now wait a minute, I thought they don't make them. Well, guess what, fuckos? In my hand here, I have the G&G catalog circa 2015. In this catalog, they were showing off a lot of their new products. But the one thing that really caught my attention... Let's see here. Ah, here we go. Page 226. Product numbers, mind you. Product number G-02-089. P.161.170. Would you like to know what that product number is and what exactly that relates to? Why, it's none other than the FN 2000 flash hider! You're telling me Evike, Airsoft GI, all these other American-based airsoft websites that I have perused and browsed for God knows how long, that you could not order the damn part, the iconic flash hider that completes the look of the FN 2000? You're telling me you could not order that in? You couldn't get that specific fucking part in? Bullshit.
Bullshit! Bullshit!
Oh yeah, there's my gripe out of the way. Let's talk about the gun itself, and the fact of this is not a G&G model.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
That's correct. Before this particular model, with its particular company, actually came onto the market, from Cybergun, of course, of all places, the only people you could actually get an FN 2000 from was, of course, the good folks at G&G. Now, I understand people are going to have a little bit of issues with the price tag of it at almost damn near $300 for either model. But this particular model behind me, while yes, not including the iconic enclosed scope, which, don't worry, I'm hoping to get that levitied one day and actually grab myself, because as much as I do appreciate this model behind me with the top monolithic rail, I'm sorry, I'm a classic guy, and I love my classic tactical Tuna. I love my classic FN 2000 from Battlefield 2, Spec Ops DLC, and Bad Company and Bad Company 2. I love the classic FN 2000 look. I really do. But I know many of you are going to be asking exactly how much this particular model cost. About $190, actually.
What the fuck?
That's correct. This model is from Cybergun and SEMA. And the box that actually came in... well, before I even get into that, do know that this is a SEMA build. And it is fully licensed by Cybergun with the FN trades. Meaning that you are going to be getting Fabrique Nationale trademarks all the way through, minus, of course, the 5.56.223 marking, as this one, of course, on the stock, instead of it being 5.56.223, actually is 6mm, which... a little detail I do like, but at the same time, that's how it is. Now, this model, of course, is 1-to-1 scale with the Action FN 2000. It is 14mm negative threading. It has a M4 length barrel, and, well, you get what I'm saying. It's a compact package, and I do love it. Now, the package it did come in, that's where things get kind of fun. The package of which this gun comes in is your standard Cybergun style package. It's, yeah, it has the big FN Herstal logo and name on it, but the big issue I think we need to address is... yeah, styrofoam. For almost $200, I think they could have, you know, skimped for a little more. You know, maybe cardboard. I mean, hell, your Colt M4 came... You know what, I'm not even going to get into this rant. I'm not. It's pointless. I'm not going to get into this rant. Moving on. So what with the gun do you get? Well, the model I got, outside the gun itself, I did get a trickle charger and a battery, and some tools, which are needed, actually. The gun itself is a pretty hefty son of a bitch, so it is actually pretty heavy. Granted, I've got it front heavy with the large suppressor I have on here, which is an ASG suppressor, so let me go ahead and take that off. And even then, it's still a tad bit heavy in the rear, because this rear is where all the parts and stuff is. This is where the gearbox is. Everything about it, though, is actually pretty good. With the monolithic rail, you get, of course, the iconic little iron sight here, which I have back here because this is where I basically was adjusting this to fit my run cam, my selfie cam mount. Like I said, 14mm negative threading on here. But, again, this is what I kind of like about it because you get full trademarks. You have full trademark here, and of course you have a full trademark here. Now, to get to the battery compartment, you will need the included Allen screw, which is right here. And you can, of course, you know, get all that. But, outside that, though, if you're going to be using, you know, magazines with this, you're going to want to be using either the included 450 Stenag style high cap or just Stenag style mid caps as well. However, it does take certain PMags pretty well. The best one we've gotten out of this is, of course, the Crytac PMag. That is, that's the best. But for this test, we'll be using the included magazine that it came with, just to sort of, you know, all that. But, outside of that, though, it is 1-to-1 scale. Of course, the iconic handguard here is actually really comfortable. It's molded perfectly, so no matter how you hold this, it's very good. It does have a flip-up rear iron sight, which you can, you know, do that. It is very nice. It's a basic peephole iron sight. But to get to your hop-up, which I know everyone's going to ask about, the back door here, which is where the jam door would be, but this is where you access your hop-up, which is honestly very nice and rather very good. Now, the iconic ejection, of course, that we all know and love, and what actually makes this a really good enclosed system, where the shell casing actually shoots up through here and out the front, it is there. It's a pain in the ass, though, because... yeah. Oh, there we go. It's a bit of metal. It's not spring-loaded or anything, but it's there. However, if you do, you know... It's not going anywhere, but... yeah, it will make noise. So, closing that up, you know, it's just nice little basic locking. Now, one thing they didn't need to do, but they did, was the adjustable gas system. And they do have that right here. And again, they didn't have to do that, but they did. And I like that. I really do. It's honestly kind of nice of Cybergun. Outside of that, the other thing, which you saw earlier, was the mag release of this big old button right here. And the manual of arms for it is you come up, you press, you grab, and you just jerk down. So, again, it's really good. But the other thing is the charging handle is a little bit sticky, I want to say. I say sticky because you have to be very... There we go. Like I said, it's a bit sticky when you have to do this, but it does give you that cool MP5-ish style slap where you just literally... yeah, or you can just... like that. Now, the takedown of this is very intuitive, very simple. The takedown is literally you press this button right here, and you just take the entire upper half off. That makes it very easy for maintenance, for swapping out parts, for anything of that nature, and leaves this entire lower half here completely untouched, and you basically can do whatever you want with that. Now, this is wired to Tamiya's, so you know, if you want to wire this to Dean's, you're gonna have to get an adapter for it, or you're gonna have to rewire it to Dean's yourself. Outside of that, it's completely P90, which I know a lot of you were going to ask, is it P90 in nature because it's made by FN? Yes, it is completely P90 in nature. You have your fire selector, which is P90 all the way through and through, which you can see right there. However, unlike a P90, this is not a two-stage system, I want to say. I mean, yeah, you could, you know, have it, but it's more along the lines of it's set up for some automatic and full auto. But it does have a semi two-stage trigger. I haven't really tested that out much, but we'll test it out when we take it outside. Now, like I said before, this thing is a comfortable gun to shoulder. It is so comfortable. It is very good. The handguard here is molded just right, but if you do want a rail system for this, and yes, I know many of you are going to be trying to get the rail system for it, fair warning, the rail system is about 130 bucks, and sadly, with the way things are going with embargoes, that price tag's only going to go up, so, yeah, kind of expensive. Although then again, the price tag has probably already shot up God knows how much. Now, as I stated before, the monolithic rails here, this is metal. The only thing that isn't metal is the body itself. Everything else that you see on here is metal. The rail, not the charging handle, the barrel, all the stuff that's supposed to be metal is metal. Everything that's supposed to be polymer is polymer. And again, it's a very nice gun. Now, Callsign Reach actually did a video on the FN2000 talking about his setup and how his was done. And I might do that myself in the future. I don't know. I'm still deciding how I want to set up my FN2000 in the future. But I might go for a full-on BF2 Spec Ops DLC or a Battlefield Bad Company setup, especially with the grenade launcher, which that's if the grenade launcher actually does work with this, and if so, then, or if we have an airsoft grenade launcher that will work with this, and if so, I'm definitely going to get a grenade launcher, because again, I want to have my Battlefield FN2000, and not Battlefield as in, you know, an actual Battlefield, I mean the video game series Battlefield, because as much as you guys want to be like, oh, you could just go for, you know, no, I just want to replicate the video game gun that I fell in love with, and I still love to this day. Forget Modern Warfare 2, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Battlefield Bad Company, all the way. Either way, though. So, obviously, you're probably asking, what is the downside to this? The downside to this, sadly, is the weight and the way it's set up. Not everyone is going to like the weight of the gun. Then again, not everyone likes the weight of a bullpup. Most of it is in the rear where the gearbox is. Unless you start mounting stuff to the front, then that front is going to get very heavy. I know everyone doesn't like that. Believe me, I don't either. I'm a small guy. I'm a little bit of a weak guy. I like lighter guns, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to rock the heavier guns. But the big thing is that this is still a comfortable gun, and if you leave this entire front end bare and just with a flash hider, then all that is going to be in the rear, meaning that, you know, you're going to have a rear heavy gun, but you're going to have a more balanced gun at least. Again, just depends on how you want to be set up. And really, that's it. That's the only real downside I can say. I mean, it is a hefty son of a bitch, but at the same time, it's still a good gun. So, enough of my gabbing. Let's go ahead, get this thing chronographed. Let's take it to the range, and see how she performs after these messages.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
Looking for that perfect game for your gaming console? Video Game Corner is the largest independently owned video gaming store in North Mississippi, located at 1519 Highway 72 in Corinth. We are an authorized limited-run retail store and have a massive collection of retro games and game systems, and also plush toys and collectibles. We also pay top dollar for your used video games. Check them out Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visit Video Game Corner in Corinth.
You're reaching deep inside you, go for things you've never known. It's been tough, rough going, but you haven't gone alone.
We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Be all that you can
Hey,
be.
First Sergeant. Good morning.
You can do it in the army.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
Alright, so we have the SEMA FN2000 here. Now, I don't know if the G&G FN2000 has this feature, but there's something I want to show to you guys, because this is kind of cool, the buttstock area. It has actual, honest-to-God clamps in here. One up here, one down here where the battery is in, that actually keeps the battery secured in place and doesn't rattle around. That's honestly kind of cool. And for that, we're going to keep the buttstock off here, because it's... yeah, I don't know why they decided to make it the way it is, but let's go ahead and get the 450 high cap here. Just insert in, all nice and good. Make sure it's feeding. It's feeding. Let me just see about that two-stage trigger, if it has it. Yep. Yep, it does have that two-stage trigger. So we're just going to... There we go. Let's go ahead and get the chronograph here and see what kind of FPS we're getting out of this. So, here we go. Line it up all nice and neat. 265, 265, 260, 263, 262, 265, 260. We are getting below CQB level FPS with Evike 0.2 BBs, mind you. So it may depend. With that, of course, you know, it's just, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool with what we have right now. But either way, though, let's go ahead and take this outside and see what kind of distance we're getting out of this thing with 0.2s, mind you. I don't have a lot of 0.25s that I can just willy-nilly waste way off in the damn distance. So, you know, it's just one of those things. But we will be engaging technically in those distances with 0.2s. So, you know, it's just how it is. But let's go ahead, get on outside, and see how this turns out. Alright, we're out here right now on the very windy day it is. I have the suppressor on, and again, I have the attachment on there for the suppressor. You're telling me I'm not going to run without the suppressor, but I did not put the buttstock on. I did not put the butt pad on here, so you were going to hear this loud gearbox essentially, because that rubber was muffling it a bit. So you're going to be able to hear that. But yeah, no, I've got some Evike 0.2s in here. I am honestly pretty excited to see how this thing turns out. So let's go ahead and get the run cam on. Get it on semi-automatic. And see if it'll hit the broadside of a barn. Let me just get the iron sight flipped up there. And see if we can hit the broadside of a barn. Yeah, we can hit the broadside of a barn, but what about all the way out the woods? Can it hit all the way out the woods, which is beyond 100 feet with 0.2s? Yes, it can. Granted, I do have the suppressor on there, so let me go ahead and take the suppressor off and see what we're getting with that. Yeah, she's got the distance, folks. She got the distance. She really does. So, let's go ahead, get it back inside, and give our final verdict, shall we? If I haven't said so already, I love this gun. But it has problems, and the price tag itself is actually really good, and SEMA has done well with replicating the FN2000 for Airsoft. And while we may no longer get the civilian variant anymore, because to my knowledge and from the information I've looked, they're no longer being produced by FN, it's still something I would love to own myself in a real steel. Simply because it's a cool gun, it's a great gun, it's a fun gun. I love the FN2000. And that love may be blinding me a bit, but the performance of the gun itself, everything of that nature, makes it the first 2022 gun. And I know a lot of people are going to say, why give it this score when it has all these issues? Simply put, it's a good gun. It's a great gun, and it is one that I wish more people would get, simply because it's honestly really good. So, ladies and gentlemen, the FN2000 from SEMA and Cybergun gets no more, no less than my highest rating, a solid 10 out of 10, legendary status. The reason for that is simply because it's a good gun. It has so much upgradable possibilities. It is really awesome, and it is an icon, and in my opinion, way better and iconic than the standard M4 or M16. It is a gun that inspired the Halo assault rifle, and without that, and that alone makes it legendary. How many M4s you know actually inspired a Halo gun? go ahead, say so in the comments section. Because let's face it, this is the reason we have Halo. This is the reason why we have a cool looking gun in Quake Wars. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, that alone deserves the legendary status. Anyway, thank you all so very much for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL, and 2022 is going ahead and getting off to a really good start. Let's hope we keep it that way. And if you want to help support the channel and help us get more guns like this, or more awesome guns for review in, then consider donating to our PayPal down below. It's folks like you that actually made it possible for us to get the FN2000. And, yeah. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been AirsoftAL. If you want to come talk to me, consider joining the Discord, link down below. And I want to hear your thoughts on the FN2000. What do you think of the Tactical Tuna? Do you think it deserves the legendary status? Do you think it's a good gun, both real steel and airsoft? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, I will see you all in the next review. Till next time. Let's go, Brandon. Later.